Hey, what's up everyone? Today I wanted to do a blue Doflamingo OP03 deck profile. Not a lot to it. It's a pretty simple deck. Basically, you just utilize his leader ability very often as possible. When attacking for 2 Dawn, and you have to have 1 to rest, so 3 total. Reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a 7 Warlords of the Sea, with 4 or less, you can play it just off the top, no strings attached. It is rested, unfortunately, which does make a little bit of a disadvantage in some cases, but for the most part, the +1/+1/+1/+1 every single turn is pretty insane. So let's get into it. We've got 3 Mihawks. Level 9 removes anything from the field with 7 or less to the bottom of the deck, and he's a Warlord, so he can be searched with our other cards as well. We've got Doflamingo. He's a Warlord, and on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and return them to the top or bottom in any order. Basically searches. So basically, you're using Doflamingo and Perona to set your deck up so that you have a 7 Warlord on the second draw, because you're going to top deck the card for turn, and then you're going to use his attack and play the Warlord that you put in the second position on top of your deck. So then we've got 4 Kumas. Blocker Kuma plays a Pacifista card. 4 Pacifistas. Not crazy about the Pacifistas, only because they are not a 7 Warlord, but hopefully in the next few sets another 7 Warlord that is also a blocker comes out, and we can just replace it with him. Maybe instead of this card, the Boa from the structure deck might be a little bit better, I think. We've got 3 Peronas, as I said, to kind of set up your deck, and then let Dofi summon whatever you want to. We've got 3 Boas because she's a 7 Warlord and another blocker that also draws 1, so good draw engine as well. We've got 4 level 4 6Ks Gecko Morias. Really good, really strong attack, really good beater. Some people use the double attack one instead of this one, but you're almost never going to have 5 cards in hand, so that almost never applies. But you could maybe add like a 1 of the double attack if you really wanted to try it out. I think it's practically useless in this deck because you're never going to have 5 cards in hand. Kuma, 3 of Kuma. Look at the top 2 cards of the deck, reveal a 7 Warlord and add it to your hand. Really good, especially if you wanted to use it to search stuff like Mihawk and Desert Spada out, stuff that can't normally be searched with Doflamingo. We've got 3 4-cost Morias, and it adds a character with a cost of 4 or less from your trash to your hand, so this can be used to get any Warlord or Perona with a cost of 4 or less. We've got 4 Mihawks, mostly for the 2k counters. When attacking, draw 2 trash 2. Not a bad effect. Probably never really going to use it though. Mostly used for the counter. We've got 4 Laws. He is a Warlord, which I've been watching the anime the whole time. Didn't really catch on to that for some reason. Somehow that escaped my grasp. But Law is a Warlord, so he works with the effect, and a level 1 blocker is really nice. We've got 3 Kumas on play. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, return them to the top or bottom, any order. Once again, use that in combination with Doflamingo's ability, and put the card that you want to summon on the second slot of your deck. We've got 2 Teaches. Return a character of 3 or less to the hand, really good for removing those pesky blockers if you need to. We've got 3 Desert Spadas. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, return top or bottom of any order. Once again, it uses it to place the another Warlord on the second slot of your deck, so that you can play it for free with Doflamingo. And then we have 3,000 Worlds just for more removal, so that we can actually attack into somebody if they just spam blockers all over the field. So that's pretty much it. It's a very simple deck list. Not a lot going on with it. It's pretty much just set up the cards the way you want to, summon a level 4 or less for free, and profit. So without further ado, let's get into the game. So going into the game, I do see Perona in my hand, so I choose not to mulligan, because she is probably the best case scenario. And I go ahead and play her. Now, here's my first misplay right here. I should have added Gecko Moria to the 4th slot of my deck right here. Put it in the 4th slot, that way I would be able to draw the next turn, and then activate Doflamingo's turn, affect the following turn after that. So I did misplay there a little bit, just to show you guys. So you do need 3 active Dawn to use Doflamingo's, you need a total of 3 Dawn to use Doflamingo's effect. Here, I just attack with 2, figuring it would be enough, but I forgot that you needed to rest 1 as well. So misplay by me, but I do end up taking a life, which is just as good, I would say. Go ahead and end my turn. He plays Onigashima and attaches 1 to Kaido. I choose not to block here and take the life because blocking would destroy my blocker, obviously, and then he would get an extra Dawn, which I do not want. I want to control his Dawn as much as possible, so I take the life more than happily. Here, I play the level 3 blocker, start placing on top or bottom. It looks like I'm trying to keep the Kuma in my second slot so I can bounce a counter if I need to. I'm gonna be honest, this isn't one of my favorite decks, so like the commentary and the gameplay isn't gonna be the most interesting or anything, but I can at least give you guys a loose guideline on how to play it and point out areas where I did make a mistake as well. So pointing out his mistake here, either he doesn't have any in hand, he doesn't have enough in his deck, but he does not have any blockers on the field, and he's already at 2 life, which is pretty concerning if I'm being honest. I do block with the attack with 7 here and draw. He has an active Dawn left, so it's pretty safe to assume he's got another card in hand that's an event. So start off almost every single turn by attacking with Dofi and then playing the card rested. And then Kuma helps me search again. Now I should put Teach in the second slot here, so I can play him the next turn if I want to, which I do. He plays Blast Breath, I believe that is, for 4k. So I attach the rest of my Dawn to Perona and attack with 5. I'll attack with 6, sorry. He does choose to take another life, which, yikes, if he had the counters, he probably just should have taken it by then. In all honesty, he's running through those life cards like nobody's business at the moment. Two blockers on field, not many counters in hand, so I could be in a much better position in all honesty, but not the worst by any means. Have 3,000 worlds in my hand to remove any blockers if I see any, which will be super useful. So not too worried, in a pretty dominant position. He does KO my blocker here, which puts me in a little less favorable position, but I'm still not too concerned. And then he does get an extra Dawn on destruction, which is good for him. Attacks into Kuma with 6k. Decide to just let him die, not going to take that because he still has another attack that could attack Kuma if I saved him. Plays a level 3 Doflamingo blocker and deliberates a little bit before ending his turn. I'm guessing he's like choosing what to put on top of the deck. Attacks Perona with 6. Let her die. And I believe it gets passed to me. Yep. So I go ahead and immediately place his blocker at the bottom of the deck, so I can for sure get a hit in. And I think I'm going to attach 4 to Dofi and attack, leave the remainder to summon something. So I'm kind of playing on my back foot in a certain way this game, but it hasn't ended up being too brutal because I am still winning, mostly because he has no blockers, either on field or in the deck at all. He should definitely have at least the Law level 1 blocker in his deck, but I'm not really sure. Not the best matchup either, like blue and purple isn't the craziest deck to go against right now or anything, but again, I just wanted to show you guys a proof of concept, how the deck kind of works, how it's played, and even some of the misplays that I made, because I did learn quite a few things about the deck just in the small amount of time that I played it. He attacks Teach for 6 into 4, which I'm most likely going to take because there's absolutely no reason for me to block it or anything. It just kind of is what it is at this point. I'm going to save my blocker as long as possible. However, I do know that he has the potential to KO a blocker, so I'm not going to hold on to it forever. As soon as I think that he has a chance at destroying it, then I'll just go ahead and sacrifice it the first chance I get. It's really not worth holding on to a blocker if you think they're gonna get KO'd immediately anyways. So, absolutely nothing on field here. Not looking super great. Uses king to destroy a blocker, so I probably should have blocked earlier. Pretty much exactly what I said would probably happen. So I attach 4 here. Before getting too crazy and attaching every single one of my Dawn, I do summon the blocker, just for that extra little bit of survivability. And then I attack into Kaido, play a Boa Arrested for 10, and he uses the blocker, more than likely. Yep, uses the blocker because with Blast Breath he could probably only get to 9 without counters, so chose not to use it there. If he had a Blast Breath, it could have always been a bluff. Plays a 9-drop Kaido, restores a Dawn using Onigashima, and attacks into leader with 6. Oh, sorry, attacks into Boa with 6. Take it, because I have no counters. And now he's going to attack into leader 4 times. Luckily, I have 4 life. No good trigger effect for the Kuma, unfortunately. But, yeah. So he's going to take the remainder of my life out completely, but without a blocker to protect him, I'm really not concerned. So no blockers. I thought he was going to use that last Dawn in hand to drop like a level 1 Law or something, but ends up not doing it. I attach 10 Dawn to my leader, and I do get lucky that he doesn't have the amount of counters in his hand, spoiler alert. So attack with 15k straight to the leader, and he gives me a heart attack right here by going 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, but not quite enough, and I do end up taking the win. Not even the greatest showing from that deck by any means, but it still did manage to win. So if you guys liked, please like and subscribe, and until the next one, see ya.